Welcome back to the Malaysia Money Matters show. It's the 28th of January, 26.
It's good to be back.
We're looking at a really interesting market today. It feels like everyone's bullish at home, but, well, hedging like crazy against what's happening globally.
It's a real tale of two sentiments, isn't it? You've got companies here building and pivoting, but then you look at the macro picture and everyone's basically buying insurance.
Okay, so let's start with the building. Johor is, it's just the center of the universe right now. Advancecon landed RM 82 million for Earthworks?
And that's in the Johor-Singapore Special Economic Zone. That's the key part. This isn't just a random project.
Exactly. It's the foundation for that Southern Catalyst Innovation District.
Right, and it ties in perfectly with Ekovest extending their deadline for the RTS-Link land deal. It signals that, while the big cross-border talks are complicated, the work on the ground is already full steam ahead.
And where there's infrastructure, tech is never far behind.
No.
We're seeing this fascinating shift with ISF Group. They're getting premium valuations even before listing.
All because of data centers.
Just data centers.
Yeah, think about it. Data centers need a massive amount of water cooling piping. That's what ISF does. It's the classic picks and shovels play for the AI boom.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But what about the established players?
Well, they're evolving too. Penamaster's got a RM 400 million order book, so manufacturing is definitely recovering. But the one I'm watching is Elsoft Research.
Oh, right. They're dropping the LED market.
Completely. Dropping it and putting RM 20 million into medical devices and metal lens testing. It's a smart pivot, chasing the margin, not just the volume.
Speaking of pivots, we saw something similar from Unique Fire, didn't we?
We did. Moving from fire protection systems to a huge 95-megawatt solar plant in Perak.
That's quite the leap.
It's all about diversification. And it's happening across the board. You've got Ecoseries launching a sustainable aviation fuel plant.
Right. Malaysia's trying to become that green energy hub for the region.
Exactly. And even on a smaller scale, Rancha Power is building a new gas plant in Labuan just to guarantee energy security for the island.
Okay, let's turn to the boardroom for a second. GoBar Communications brought in Andreas Vogiatsakis as chairman.
That's a clever move. You're merging that creative agency culture with some very serious high-level media leadership.
Now let's get to the consumer. Because if you look at Mr. DIY, their stock just surged 23% this month.
Yeah. That tells you the average Malaysian is definitely still spending.
You think so?
For sure.
Yeah.
But they're spending smart. Mr. DIY is all about value. But then on the other end, you have HSBC opening a new premier center in Petaling Jaya for the affluent. So spending is happening just at both ends of the spectrum.
Okay, but the capital markets seem a little less forgiving. Teamstar's IPO went well. They're funding new warehouses. But One Gasmaster, their shares dropped 20% on their debut.
Ouch. Yeah, that's a wake-up call. It shows investors aren't just buying anything just because the market is hot. Caution is still the name of the game.
And we saw that in the corporate briefs, too. A real mixed bag. Contribute double dividends. Harnlen is doing great with palm oil prices.
But then Ecofirst's profits were down. Labs delayed their report.
And you had Omesti getting a new Wi-Fi contract while Greentronics is partnering up for digital insurance.
It's all over the place, which, lines up with what HLIB is saying about the tech sector. Basically, stop trying to play the currency and just pick good companies.
Which brings us to the big one.
Yeah.
The Ringgit. It hit 3.95 against the U.S. dollar. A high we haven't seen since, 2018?
Incredible strength. But here's the paradox. At the same time, gold has blown past 5,000 US dollars an ounce.
Right. A strong currency and record high gold shouldn't really happen at the same time.
They shouldn't. And that's what they're calling the debasement trade. The ringgit is strong because their domestic reforms are working. But gold is soaring because global investors are terrified of other countries' sovereign bonds.
So they're losing faith in currencies like the U.S. dollar and fleeing to hard assets.
Exactly. So here we are growing our exports by 3 to 5% in a world that's becoming scared of its own cash.
But we're not totally immune. HSBC warned about Japan.
Right. Yeah, that's a big risk. If Japanese investors start bringing their capital home, our bond market could feel some serious pain.
Okay, on domestic policy, Minister Ezelina made a major clarification on MA63.
A very important one. She stated very clearly it does not govern oil and gas.
Which means federal control over Petronas stays put no matter what Sarawak is pushing for.
It does. It removes a layer of uncertainty for investors.
And for the person on the street, median formal wages are up to RM 2,864.
That's good to see.
But the government is also cracking down on debt. The new Consumer Credit Act is forcing buy now, pay later companies to do proper credit checks.
Finally. That was needed. But we also need to protect people from scams. The government only recovered 6% of over $500 million ringgit in losses. 6%.
That's an abysmal number. It's frightening.
It is. And the fight against fraud continues. The MICC is now investigating an international law firm over 1MDB. It just never ends.
It really doesn't. And as the government looks at that new U.S. trade deal, that agreement on reciprocal trade,
that cost-benefit analysis will be absolutely crucial. We can't afford to sign away our economic interests.
a lot to think about there. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe to the Malaysia Money Matters podcast. Hey there, thanks for tuning in. If you would like a deeper dive into all the investment opportunities from today's news, subscribe to my newsletter at moneymatters.substack.com. I will be sharing a deeper analysis of the key investment opportunities from today's news, including what makes these opportunities stand out and how they fit into the broader market trends. By subscribing to the Malaysia Money Matters newsletter, you will also get exclusive insights on my watch list and portfolio and fundamental reports on Malaysian listed companies.